So how do you use the safety passport? First thing is, on the safety passport, I want you to put your name, full name, in case we have anybody else that has the similar first name or last name, and then your graduating class. You're part of the class of 2023, 26, 2030, which year you're going to graduate. If you're not sure, it's the first two digits of your email address at CAC. That's what you put there. And that's because we need to know when to hand this safety passport up to the high school as you change, because this passport will follow you the whole time that you're at CAC. Then inside on page 2, you'll see in the safety passport an explanation of our EDGE method that we follow. Anytime that you want to use equipment or tools that could be dangerous, we're going to go through a process of introducing you and training you on safe use of that tool. We're going to explain how to use it safely, demonstrate it so you can see exactly what's needed to do, and then you're going to practice, sometimes many times, sometimes very few times, if you pick it up very quickly or if it's a very straightforward tool. While you practice, the instructor is going to evaluate how well you are doing. And it will really help us if you talk about what you're doing as you do it, if you explain why you're doing things, so we understand that you understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. And if you ask questions about anything that you don't understand or realize as you're doing it wasn't as clear as you might have thought. This process will be repeated every time that you want to use a different kind of machine or tool in the workshop. And there'll be signs that demonstrate, or that indicate, sorry, not demonstrate, that you need to go through this process near almost all of the tools and definitely all of the equipment that you might need to go through this for. On page 3, there's a list of all of those rules. You should have already read through that already. And make sure that you remember all of those rules. Make sure that you follow them every time that you're in the workshop for the whole time that you're in the workshop. Particularly, I want to point out the safety glasses must be worn at all times in the workshop. That means you may not take them off because they're getting foggy. You may not take them off because they're uncomfortable or making it more difficult for you to see your work. You may not take them off because you've got sweat in your eyes are itchy, your nose is itchy, something happened and you really just need to take them off. No. If you need to take them off, go out of the workshop. The whole time that you're in the workshop, they need to be on your face, and this will be strictly enforced. If that's not something that you find you can follow, you will be asked to stay in the classroom. And this is not a negotiable item. It's not something you can work with on the teacher. You can give excuses for. It's simply an absolute requirement. The main reason for this is that should something happen in the workshop, something very unusual, and it caused a problem which might be dangerous to your eyes, we want it to have already been a habit to such an ingrained level that it never crosses your mind you wouldn't have your glasses on your face, so that they're there if that something should ever happen. And then I'd also like to point out number 14 as well. Keep the workshop clean. Clean up after yourself. As you're working and you finish with a tool, please put it away immediately. Back where you got it from or where it belongs, if it happens to have put away in the wrong spot by a previous designer. Put away any scraps. Put wood back into the wood bin or the scrap cart wherever it belongs. Anything that's usable, please make sure that it gets back in a way that makes it easy for the next student or designer to use. Anything that's too small to be usable or too used, Make sure it goes into the appropriate bin. There's different bins for different kinds of waste in the workshop. Make sure that the workshop stays clean. As you leave, it should be a very clean space for the next designers to come in. And that makes it safer for everybody. And then finally, this is the part you've probably been waiting for, all those blank pages. The way that we'll do this is we'll go through, either there'll be a video on NoLat Labs, we have a few of those completed, or you'll need to do a one-on-one with the instructors. We'll talk about what the machine is and why we would use it, or what the tool is and why we'd use that particular tool. Then we'll talk about what you can do before you turn it on or start using it to be safe. These are safety precautions. And then we'll talk about while it's running or while you're using it, what can you do to stay safe? We'll put notes down below when you've practiced in front of us and shown us what you know. And once you are approved, the teacher will sign off in the middle school slot. And you'll go through that same process again at the high school when you get there. You'll have to practice and show that you know how to use that tool or piece of equipment to make sure that they know that you do understand all the safety and all of the processes for using the machines or the tools. If you have any questions, make sure you check with one of us.